The hospital was a towering edifice, a place where life and death collided on a daily basis. It was a place where hope and despair intertwined in the most unpredictable of ways. For those who worked there, it was a place of tireless labor and endless stress. For those who were patients, it was a place of fear, uncertainty, and pain. One particular night, the hospital was eerily silent. The halls were empty, and the lights flickered dimly, casting long shadows that seemed to reach out for unsuspecting souls. The nurse's station was abandoned, and the rooms were empty. It was as if the entire hospital had been deserted. But this was far from the truth. There was something lurking in the shadows, something sinister and malevolent. It crept through the halls, slithering like a snake, leaving a trail of death and destruction in its wake. The night shift nurse, Emily, was making her rounds when she heard a strange sound coming from one of the rooms. She cautiously approached the room, her heart racing with fear. When she opened the door, she was greeted by a sight that would haunt her for the rest of her life. The room was empty, save for a single bed, which was covered in blood. The walls were splattered with red, and the air was thick with the smell of death. Emily backed away, her mind reeling with terror, but as she turned to leave, she saw movement out of the corner of her eye. She spun around, her heart in her throat, and saw a figure standing in the doorway. It was a woman, her face twisted into a grotesque mask of pain and suffering. She was wearing a hospital gown, and her arms were outstretched, as if she was begging for help. Emily tried to scream, but no sound came out. She backed away, but the figure advanced towards her. She tried to run, but her legs felt like lead. And then, the figure was upon her, her cold fingers wrapping around Emily's throat. Emily struggled, but it was no use. She felt the life being squeezed out of her, felt her vision fading to black. And then, just before she lost consciousness, she saw the face of the woman, and recognized her as one of the patients who had died in the hospital years before. From that day on, the hospital was never the same. The staff and patients alike reported strange occurrences, from ghostly apparitions to unexplained noises in the dead of night. The hospital was eventually abandoned, left to crumble and decay, a silent witness to the horrors that had once taken place within its walls.